It has been 9 months since the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints purchased the Kirtland Temple, along with some other historic properties and artifacts. So why is this history so important, and how will the church use it as they move forward? I took a trip to the sacred sites in Kirtland and Nauvoo to find out. It is where some of the most significant events in the history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints took place.
I believe that wherever deity stands or appears, there's something about the ground that changes.
And that, right there, is why this, the first temple built by the church, is so significant.
This is a big deal. These sites are among the most sacred in the church. And because they're so sacred to our church, I'd almost say they're so sacred to the world.
And understanding that sacredness is to first understand the history. After persecution and apostasy, the early saints fled northeastern Ohio in the late 1830s, bound for Nauvoo. Much of Kirtland was left behind, the temple included, with different parties controlling access to the temple over the years.
They put the temple up for sale. I've got a little clip of the advertising for it.
A split-off from the original faith, the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, now known as Community of Christ, eventually secured title to the Kirtland Temple, who has cared for and owned it ever since.
They have done an incredible job maintaining that space and keeping it historic.
We are so close to many of the members of the Community of Christ, and we know how much they love the temple and how much it means to them.
And that is why the transaction to sell the Kirtland Temple in March of this year,
it was one of those moments like, wow, this is really happening.
Was a moment many in the LDS Church were never quite sure
I was shocked
would ever happen.
And I couldn't believe it. I just was overwhelmed.
The $192 million acquisition also including historical buildings and artifacts in Nauvoo and Independence. So, what now? Well, first, it is clear the spiritual events attached to these pieces of history is valuable, and giving folks a chance to look at and physically walk through the history,
prayer, fasting, faith,
is priceless.
It's humbling to think not only this is where Joseph did his work, but this is where that marvelous manifestation happened.
One of our duties as Christians, as children of God, is to remember the things God has done, to remember His mercy.
For us as Latter-day Saints, remembering is a sacred act. And the only reason that we have historic sites as a church is to help us as Latter-day Saints remember what God has done for us as a people.